Rockin' Robin Kirby here. We're live at Rockstar Art Gallery, Music Highway at Rockstar. Have just got done listening to Feo y Loco. They were on Music Highway at Last Concert Cafe last year, and we're playing some music by them now. I'd also like to introduce Kelly Ellis and Hot Poets. They're in the room with me now, and they're the poets that you just heard on air that were reading that lovely poetry with the music behind it. So I'd like to welcome all of you Hot Poets. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are y'all doing?
Thank you.
How are y'all doing today? Good. It's good having you here. I think people are really liking mixing the art and poetry together. We've had a lot of fun mixing it together in the past month, and we hope that we'll keep having the poetry every month here at Rockstar. So Kelly, do you want to introduce them again?
Sure. I have Dom Zucconi, who teaches for Houston ISD, and I have Susan Bell Summers, who teaches in Palacios, Carrie Kornacki, who is with Spring ISD, and Laura Pena, who teaches in Katy.
So they're all teachers. We love teachers. We all love teachers. I'm a really big fan of teachers, and I think that teachers should make more money. It just irritates me to make enough money because we all need good teachers. So we're really happy to have all of you teachers here today.
Thank you.
So the theme for the poets today was hot for poet, or hot for
yes, it was.
Hot for teacher. Hot for teacher. I'm like hot for poet. Hot for teacher. I know there's a song, Hot for Teacher.
There is. I thought it was kind of funny. And so we do things around the theme of heat. And I wanted to have some teachers here because teachers struggle to lead creative lives. And I think that these poets have managed to be very strong in the poetry community and still take care of their grueling job. And
right. Teaching.
Yes, and so they inspire me, and I wanted to bring them on to the show to inspire others.
Awesome. So I guess we'll start with you. You want to tell us about the poem, one of the poems that you wrote today? You want to pick one of them?
Yeah, I'm Susan Summers, and I have a kind of a colloquial style. I like to do a lot of narrative poems.
Uh-huh.
And the first poem I read today is Country Cousin, City Cousin, and it's a true story about how my cousin and I first met. Mm-hmm. When we were very young, and it ended up in an altercation.
Oh, wow. So that was the part of the poem, right? The end part, the end.
Right.
The end
when I was dragging her down the hall by her hair.
And so how many poems did you read today?
I read 6.
You read 6.
In 7 minutes.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate having you here. And will your art be on the Hot Poet page, too? Maybe you can put your poems on the Hot Poet page for us. And if you go to Facebook, and for all you listeners out there, these Hot Poets have a Facebook page called Hot Poets Houston, or Houston Hot Poets. So if you type that in, you can go and check out the poetry there. And if you want to be a part of the show, then you can reach out to Kelly Ellis in Hot Poets if you'd like to read in the show, too. Our next poet is?
Carrie Kornacki.
Welcome, Carrie.
Hi. One of the poems that I read was called Hunger. And I wanted to talk about this one because much of my poetry I describe as sentient snapshots, where I'm a very visual person and I see things emotionally, so they're charged, with emotion.
Sure.
And I see something, and then in many ways I relate to the person that I see. So the poem Hunger, I was sitting in Detroit airport, and there's a woman, and she was just beautiful, but she had this look on her face that I could relate to. Mm-hmm. There was this hunger. There was something, she was so regal and so still. Mm. But as she sat, and one of the lines is, she sits still and straight in her smear of inertia. Mm. And then inside, there's so many things going on. And I described her as, and in her fingers, she holds a piece of hunger, that craving. Mm-hmm. And we obviously had different lives, different colors of skin, different pasts, different futures, but there was that connection, that emotional connection that she was hungering like I do.
Right.
And so I like to do that. I like to see people, see situations, and then create word sounds and imagery, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, to bring a reality to that snapshot.
Right. And you did a great job of that today.
Well, thank you.
Now, I didn't ask you, do you have a website where we can see your stuff? Do you have a website, the first yet?
Yes, it's titlepoolpoet.com.
Title Pool? Can you spell that?
TIDALPOOLPOET.
Okay, so Susan Beal, if you want to look up her poetry, you can look it up there. And do you have a site?
I do not.
You do not. So you can. We'll be putting yours in on Hot Poet's site.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll be able to read those. Okay. So how many poems did you read in total?
I actually read 4. I read 4. One was kind of long. It was a brand new one. So
Right. Well, we really enjoyed your poetry. And the next poet?
Hello, my name is Laura Pena. Real quick clarification. I used to teach in Katy. I now teach for A-Leaf.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we got to get that straight where you teach so all your kids can hear you.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll have a link for you, too, for this radio show so all of you can share it with your students, which will be cool, too.
Yes. The poem that I want to talk about is The Broken Column. This is inspired by a painting from Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo is one of my absolute favorite artists, and her life as well, her personal life as well as her artwork, has always fascinated me because this was a woman that lived in a time where in Mexico, where most women were just supposed to be mothers, stay at home, take care of the husband, and raise a traditional family. And she broke every single rule in the book.
She was a rebel.
Complete rebel. And I see myself in her a lot.
Right.
I am a rebel as well. And she suffered a catastrophic accident that should have killed her, but it did not. And she survived it, and yet she was in excruciating pain her entire life.
Wow.
And she was a writer as well as an artist. Not many people know that. She kept art journals, and she wrote poetry as well. And it's quite beautiful, but everything around her, she would say, I paint what I see around me because it's the only thing I have. When she spent months and months and months and body casts after her accident. So I take a lot of inspiration from her paintings.
From true stories.
And from true stories.
I love true stories.
Yes.
I love nothing more in a movie than a true story. If it's not a true story, I almost don't want to watch it. But I love true stories. And I think that in writing, a true story is good. I'm a songwriter, and when I write, I use my life as the key to all the words that I use in the songs. And I find some interesting people, and you know, a lot of people don't even know I've written a song about them, and I don't even tell them. I just let them try to figure out who that's about. You know what I mean? But I do love true life, and I think true life stories, people really are interested in hearing what's happening in people's lives. I think it's very important.
Yes, absolutely.
And it was a beautiful poem. So how many poems did you read in total?
I read 5 poems.
5 poems?
Yes, and 3 of them were ekphrastic, and they were based on artworks.
Awesome.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. So they were all kind of in a way.
In a way, yes. And the last one that I read about my father, he loved art, and he would take my brothers and I and my mother to the museum. I grew up in the Museum of Fine Arts, I like to say, and I was always surrounded by art, so...
Awesome.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here at Rockstar, is mix all arts together as a community so that the artists help the poets help the artists, and vice versa, and the music as well, and the radio. So it's interesting to have all the different kinds of artists in this room and get to find out really what they're writing about, what they're doing, and kind of share it with all the other art community, which is really good. Okay, I've got one more. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Dom Zacconi, and I also don't teach at HISD. I teach at Houston Can Academy. I want my students to know I haven't forgotten them. They're
awesome.
They're terrific.
Awesome. Now, what's the name of that school again?
Houston Can Academy. We're over on Bissonnette. I'm at the Southwest campus.
Okay, so it's a shout out to all the kids there.
Yeah, they deserve it. They're great
kids. Awesome. And you, what do you teach there?
I wander around. I have a quasi-supervisory role, and so I get to walk in any classroom I want and help out there. So it's really nice. Kids ask me, what do I do? I say, I walk around all day.
I like that. So you
Go
help
to school,
everyone.
get a degree. You can do the same thing and get paid for it.
I wanted to ask her too before we went on. Do you have a .com or someplace where people can find your
I do
work?
have a WordPress blog, and if you, I think it's WordPress at Laura Pena Poet or LIP Poet.
Okay.
I'm not sure, something like that. I always
Okay.
use my initials.
I just wanted to make sure that we get all those links in so that if you do have a link, people can go and check out your poetry from listening in on air. So, Dawn, tell me a little bit more about
Dom
you.
with an M.
Dom.
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 DOMZUCCONE at wordpress.com. You can go to my blog. It's fine there.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
So tell me, what poems did you read today?
I read one poem.
One poem.
It's a poem called Get Hip to This, which took, of course, a line from the famous Route 66 song. The Taos Art Council actually requested that I write a poem about Route 66.
I'm from New Mexico.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in my life on Route 66.
Right. The real Route 66.
The real Route 66.
and stuff. So, yeah, it's a really interesting road, and it was an interesting excursion for me. I don't really regard myself as a beat poet, but I regard that as a form. So once I started writing a poem about the road, it put me to my memories of my father, of my friends, of driving in cars, and going back and forth, that timeless experience of things that you remember that are happening while you're there, and the rhythm. So, yeah, that was a lot of what that poem was about.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming out today, and it was a lovely poem. Thank you so much for writing something
for
for
having me. It's a wonderful venue. People should come here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thanks for being on air with me. Would you like to say one more word, Kelly?
Just want to thank all my poets, and I'm glad they clarified where they teach and gave shout outs to their students. And I'm a teacher also, so I want to give a shout out to my students at Spring Early College Academy. I have poet students who keep me inspired.
Awesome. All right. So that's Houston's Hot Poets. You can look them up on Facebook, and they'll be here every month, the last Sunday of every month.